Okay, crazy development going on in the world of free speech, totally under the radar so you wouldn't notice. So stay with me and we're going to go through it very quickly. First one, Scotland, they just went live with their hate speech laws. What's the change? You're in your private house, you're having a dinner party. They can now take you and fine you for anything you say in your own private house that they feel is you're speaking against minorities. I don't like Romanians. I don't like these Palestinian flags. Fined straight away. That is the new law already gone through, and it's there. They can do it for anything you say, and then they'll tell you you've got free speech, obviously. But anything you say, that's what can happen. So they tell you got free speech. The typical gaslighting that we've experienced since the pandemic. They just gaslight everything. So that's the first one. Second one, in Canada, the online safety bill. This is a shocker. They can now, in Canada, arrest you for hate speech. They think you're going to do hate speech. You don't have to have done it yet. They think you're going to do it. They can arrest you. Now, remember, this is the same country that during the pandemic, the truckers over there, they froze their bank accounts. They stopped just allowing them to give money, and then they railroaded them with horses over their heads until they left. So this is the same free speech democracy country that now you can now be put in jail in Canada for them thinking you're going to do hate speech. This is how crazy it is. And in America, we have the TikTok bill. So let's see what MTJ has to say about this crazy new bill.
I rise today as the only member of Congress that has ever been banned by social media. On January 2nd of 2022, Twitter banned me, banned my personal account on which I was campaigning for Congress, raising money, and using my free speech to inform the voters in my district they can vote for me. This was not by a company owned by China. This was by American-owned Twitter. This came on the heels of our own United States government working with big tech and working with social media companies to censor and ban Americans' free speech. I believe that this bill can cause future problems. It's opening Pandora.
See, in America, it's more difficult for them to pass hate speech laws because they can't have any, right? Everywhere in the world now has hate speech, which is clearly against free speech. You can't have free speech and hate speech. They contradict each other totally. So in America, what do? We're censoring the platforms. So they're going to censor the platforms, put pressure, just what they did during the last election with Twitter, where it's clear, Elon Musk revealed it when he bought Twitter. They were under pressure from the government to they banned President Trump. I mean, that's all you need to know. I mean, they banned a president from it's absolutely beyond normal of not free speech. So that is the way they're going to have to do it in America, because they can't do hate speech laws. So they'll just put the pressure and pummel any platform or anyone that does anything. In the UK, coming back to the UK, we have GB News, which was a rival broadcaster to the mainstream media, right wing. And what did they do? They got rid of Mark Stein for talking about the scam. You had the Reverend, I forgot his name, the Reverend taken off. Dan Wootton, the guy who started the whole thing, taken off. Lawrence Fox, another big guy who was there, taken off. All by, how did they do that? They weaponized Ofcom. Ofcom is the broadcasting regulator. So they basically, BBC pays people to go and give a complaint. They don't even, they can take one complaint and then they go full on and say, we're going to shut you down unless you take these people off. And that's how it works. So that's how they silence free speech now. So now, the UK was meant to be an upstart broadcaster to go and, battle the mainstream media, and they've been silenced as well. So there is a very little, this is happening globally. Now, these laws, remember, are only going on now. Ireland having been the first one, by the way. Ireland with their online safety bill also being the first one. They use spurious words as reasonably hateful, or, they use words that can be interpreted in any way. That's the way they do it. And the UK has that as well now. So the UK government can request from Google or Facebook, whatever, to receive the data, and they are now allowed to look at it i.e. there's no online, it's online safety. Don't worry, porn will be available, no problem. At the touch of your fingers, won't be touched. That will be free and it's amazing. Yeah, don't worry about that. But actual free speech, actual people talking about problems in society and problems with their government, that will be completely censored. But don't worry, porn will still be free. This is how they do it. That's how they manipulate the world. So brainwashing everyone into this rubbish, garbage, and actual truth completely suppressed. And so this is where we are, guys. So, and the final thing, who got killed? John Barrett, the Boeing whistleblower. He killed himself, supposedly, on the time he was meant to give testimony against Boeing, just like Jeffrey Epstein, also amazingly killed. Let's have a little snippet of him here.
What's the condition of the airplane? And the reason my concern for that is back in 2012, Boeing started removing inspection operations off their jobs. So it left the mechanics to buy off their own work. So what we're seeing with the door plug blowout is what I've seen with the rest of the airplane, as far as jobs not being completed properly, inspection steps being removed, issues being ignored. My concerns are with the 737.
This is what happens if you challenge the narrative, the big corporations or government. You will face this final end just like that. We'll just see Lawrence Fox in the UK. A woman called him racist. So he goes, you call me racist? I'm calling you a pedo. He's joking around. Obviously, she's not. Everyone knows that. And she took him to court. And he goes, well, she called me a racist. And so the court goes, yeah, she's allowed to. You are one. He's like, what's the definition? What did I say that was wrong? We didn't have to give you a definition of racist. So he's like, okay, so I called her pedo. Yeah, but she's not. But you just said racist doesn't have to be defined. Why do you have to define pedo? Well, you do. Arrested. There you go. So he's facing a court judgment now on that. That's how it works. This is how they take you down. Constantine gives a great stat. Russia, how many people are in 2022 were arrested for hate speech online? 400 cases. This is a country of 115 million people. 400 cases of people arrested for saying something online that the government doesn't like. How many people in the UK, country of 67 million, so half the population, how many people in the UK? 3,300. Yeah, you think you're living in a free society is comical. You think you cannot say a word. Now, thank God, I've never been on social media ever in my life. I've never had a Facebook thing and Instagram, never in my life. I had a LinkedIn for a bit, but then they challenged me when I started posting these videos. They challenged me, and so therefore I left, right? So that is it. I've never been on social media. I would just recommend to everyone, get off now, because they are taking the stuff there, they're recording it, so if you do a step wrong, they're going to take you down. It's more than, you know, the old police officer would smash your taillight and go, hey, look, you got a taillight. Yeah, this is way more, because the amount of stuff they have, the amount of information they have, they could put you away forever. So you are at the moment with a noose around your neck, hasn't been tightened yet, but that is what it is. Get off social media, guys. They're coming for you if you dare step out of line.